Hello all and welcome to our October 2019 forecast here for the lower 48. So we will start by taking a look at the 500 millibar heights, then we'll work our way down to the surface on the GEFS and the Euro EPS. We'll take a quick glimpse of the teleconnections, followed by our official temperature and precipitation forecasts for the month of October. So starting with the GEFS, which is the GFS ensemble, looking at 500 millibar heights, you can see we're going to start the month with some troughing in the west, but that will quickly turn and the pattern will be flipped, and then by the second week of October, we will be seeing just the opposite with some slight troughing in the east and a slight ridge in the west. But I should point out that what you did see to begin the month, this was a significant trough in the west and ridge in the east, and what we'll be seeing after that, it will be more of a minor ridge in the west and trough in the east, so temperatures won't be as significantly below or above average as we do see in the first few days of the month. As we continue this on into the second week of October, you can see that there's some troughing that returns to the west and perhaps some ridging that returns to the east, but this is relatively far out for this model, so we'll definitely have to keep an eye on that. But it looks like for now, the first few days of the month will start out with some troughing in the west and some deep troughing at that and ridging in the east, followed by a pattern change to below average temperatures in the northeast, mid-Atlantic, Great Lakes, upper plains, and then some above average temps out west. We'll take a look at that right now, actually, so let's just switch this on over to temp anomaly. So, as you can see, we will start off the month very, very cold out west, just after this historic snowstorm that will make its way in just the coming days from this weekend, actually. You know, up the Rockies and Montana, Idaho, some of these areas on mountain ranges could receive as much as 3-4 feet of snow. But anyway, so as we move into October, you can see that the ridging out west does kind of fade, and now we have some below average temperatures in the east. Now we're only talking about maybe 5 degrees below average. But with how far we've been above average the past few weeks, it definitely will feel more significant than it actually is. So moving into the second and third, this is more the second week, soon to be third week of October, you can see that there's some troughing in the northwest, possibly hinted at by these blues and slightly below average temps, with the core of the warmth in the southern U.S. especially and in the central U.S., and then you have some average temperatures in the northeast and mid-Atlantic. Now let's take a look at what the Euro is suggesting. So this is precip-wise. So you can see that we are expected to start off the month pretty active in the plains and upper plains and eastern Rockies, as you can see, well above average precipitation to start the month off. But as we continue to work our way into the month, you see the certainty of above or below average precip kind of, weakens. But, either way, this typically happens when you move further on in time with a model run. But you do see this signal for below average precipitation in the central U.S. and above average. Possibly this would be really good for the ongoing drought right now in the southeast and mid-Atlantic, and even making its way up into the northeast. So if we do get some average rainfall for this area, that is definitely going to be beneficiary to the drought efforts right now, and drought relief, that is. So moving into the later parts of the month, you see this continue. So average to even slightly above average precipitation is being shown on the Euro weeklies on the east coast, with below average precipitation on the western spine of the Appalachians and also the northwestern U.S. and the Cascades, Seattle, Oregon, and perhaps northern California. Of course, certainty does go down as we get further on to the month. So Halloween, I'm not completely sure. I'm not completely, it's not set in stone whether there will be above average or below average temperatures in the east or west. We're definitely going to have to keep an eye on that. And one thing that we look at is teleconnections, but right now they're really not telling us too much, just because when we look at the AO, neutral, EPO, neutral, PNA, just, perhaps, making its way towards neutral by the middle of the month, and then the NAO is also neutral. So there's not much from the teleconnections telling us of what's going to happen later in the month at this point, although weeklies and the GEFS do suggest that we'll be looking at possibly more of a zonal flow by the middle and later portions of October, which kind of would suggest, I'd say, near average to perhaps slightly above average temperatures for most of the southern U.S., and perhaps even, as far north as the 40-degree latitude line, and then above that we will probably be looking at around normal temperatures. So now let's look at our official temperature and precipitation outlooks. So let me just put this full screen. Alright, so temperature-wise, here we go. Temperature anomalies. The light blue is slightly below average temperatures, and the darker blue is below average temperatures. So you can see that area of slightly below average temperatures does extend from the northwest into the northern plains, into the Great Lakes, and also into the northeastern U.S. So, yes, we will be seeing a pattern change in the later portions of the first week and also second week of October. And this should last for about a week, and then after that we'll be seeing kind of swings, so at times of above average, times of below average, but we think as a whole this area will end just slightly below average. And then we do have our core of below average temperatures, this little area in northern Montana and also western North Dakota. As we work our way south, this area not shaded in anything, this signals average temperatures. We do think that swings in the pattern will be pretty common this upcoming month after the pattern change, and if that zonal flow does take hold, then this area is probably going to be seeing around normal temperatures for the month of October. Working our way south into the southeast, south central U.S., and California, Nevada, Utah, Colorado, we're looking at slightly above average temperatures, with the core of our above average temperatures found in the southwestern U.S., and then this area of red is actually 4.5 degrees above average, possibly, in the Arizona and New Mexico region. So this is our core of above average temperatures. The models are definitely hinting at this, and as a whole, they're pretty confident on this area of above average temps. So moving into precipitation, we will most likely be seeing below average precipitation here in the northwest. Also slightly below average precipitation in the the western central Rockies. And then above average precipitation in the northern plains, and the central plains. This is definitely due, for the most part, to the first week of the month. So we're looking at well above average precip in the first week, and this will help these areas to get to overall above average precipitation for the month of October. And then this green area, this lighter green area, this is about 25% above average precip. So not too far above, but it will be a relatively wet month of October for these regions. So working our way east, we have another area of below average precipitation from Texas to the lower Mississippi Valley and into the Kentucky, Tennessee region. So this is some good news for Texas, especially in Houston and just east of Houston after that tropical storm, dumped 30, 40 inches of rain on some areas just east of Houston. So the last thing they need is above average precipitation. So luckily, we are looking at below average precipitation, especially for South Texas and Louisiana, southern Mississippi. And then when it comes to our drought out east, it looks like there will be some relief in the in the form of about average precipitation. And while that doesn't seem like much, for the past few months, we've been looking at well below average precipitation, and that's what's given us this moderate drought for much of the East Coast. So even average precipitation is going to definitely help us get back to where we should be, or at least help the drought, weaken. I guess weaken's a good term, kind of. So this is what we're looking at for the month of October. Thanks for watching. Feel free to subscribe for more updates in the coming weeks on weekly and monthly forecasts, as well as updates to our winter forecast and other videos on that.